Today in this video, we want to replace this Amplify login UI with our own custom UI. So let's get started by deleting all of the Amplify components that we added in the last video. So my app component is back to its default. It is just rendering the page component. Now, I'm going to comment this out and show you the login form that I want to render. And we need to go ahead and import that. Okay, so this is the new UI that we want to use. This is something that I just grabbed from Tailwind UI, and we want to wire this up to work with Amplify Auth. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to import auth from AWS Amplify. Now, in this login form component, we've already wired up the form submit to invoke this handle submit function. So this is where we're going to do the sign in. And to do that, we're going to call auth.signin. And this is a function that takes a username and password. So we'll use email and password. Now, this sign in function is async. So we're going to do let response equals await auth.signin. And then we're going to log that. So let's see what this looks like. I'm going to enter my username and my password. And so now I get this response. This is a Cognito user. And Amazon Cognito is the AWS service that Amplify uses to store all your users. Now, this response here, this is my user. So we know the login worked when we get this response back from Amplify. If we did something like enter an invalid password, we would get a 400 error. And so if we wanted to react to this in our form, we could wrap this async function in a try-catch block and handle these errors when the authentication fails. So this was pretty easy. It only took one line to integrate the Amplify Auth into this component. Now, this isn't fully working because when I do log in, nothing happens. Right? If I enter my username and password, I'm just going to be still here on this login screen. And so the next change we want to make is we want our app to respond to a successful login. And we can do that by going back to our app component and introducing a new piece of state. So let's add some new state called current user. And when we have a current user, we will render our page component. And when we don't, well, we'll render the login form. And so now to get the current user, we're going to add an effect. And this effect is going to set up an event listener for hub. So we're going to do hub.listen auth. And this is going to get an event. Now this is our first time seeing hub. And what hub is a library that AWS provides that allows us to listen to events that are happening in our application. So here we're subscribing to all auth events. So let's just take a look at what those look like. Now we need to make sure that we import hub. And this is just going to be a module import from Amplify. Okay, and now when I log in, we're going to see this auth event. And this channel is the channel the event happened on, and then we get a payload which has data for the event. And you'll notice in this data here, I have my Cognito user. So this is how I can get access to that current user. So let's grab our current user from this event. And it looks like this is stored in event.payload.data. And there we go. Our auth event got us our current user. And once we set that state in our app component, we're able to render the home page. So that's it. That's all we needed to do to get our custom form working with Amplify Auth.